You're listening to another episode of the Smart Agency Masterclass, and I am your host, Jason Swenk, where we believe that having the right systems in place is the difference between you scaling and growing your agency or struggling. Now, today I have Peter Caputa and you guys probably remember him from Hubspot. He was the VP of Sales, and he did a great interview all around how to retain your agency clients and what kind of reporting and how to present that to your clients so they buy more from you. So you got to definitely check out this episode. Hey, Peter, how's it going, man?
Great, Jason. How are you doing?
Good. Well, I'm excited to have you on the show for a second time, so thanks for coming on. Last time we talked about partnerships, and that's when you were at HubSpot. But for the ones that have not listened to that episode and don't know who you are, give us a little brief intro.
Sure. So I was at HubSpot. I was 15th employee there. I started the marketing agency partner program back in 2008 and built that up. Just left there after 9 years in January to join as a CEO of a company called Databox. Databox has been around for about 5 years. Largely spent all that time building out a really slick reporting product. And so I've joined to help take them to market.
Nice. Awesome. Well, one of the big issues that agencies have is retaining clients, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a huge issue. So because I guess I was this way too, right? I love the hunt. And, maybe that was just me. And I needed to hire over time the account managers in order to, really make sure that we win more business with the existing ones that we have. Because it can grow very rapidly if you don't lose the clients. So what's a couple ways that the agencies listening can retain their clients better?
Yeah. It's funny you'd say that. I think you and I are both the same, and we like the hunt. And actually, at HubSpot, I spent so much of my time, really all my time, helping to acquire customers for HubSpot, right, through partners and selling to partners and through partners or with partners, and so a lot of our focus and attention was on that because HubSpot was just growing real fast. And meanwhile, the agencies would get really busy, and their focus had to shift to retention. And so this is moving to Databox is a little bit of a natural progression for me. There's still different ways to use Databox in the acquisition funnel. In fact, we try to position ourselves to agencies as a way to acquire, retain, and grow client accounts. But the first thing that agencies work with us on is around retention, and specifically around automating their reporting. And that's the sexy thing that all agencies are looking for these days is like, I hate they're stressed and they hate cutting and pasting in data. And even if they're the owner, they know their account managers are sitting there every week or every month cutting and pasting data into spreadsheets or cutting and pasting, inconsistently formatted graphs into PowerPoint. And so we automate a good portion of that process, and that's kind of the lead in. That's how we really start working with agencies.
Yeah. Well, if I automate and I send the reporting to our clients, how do we because I remember, our clients for the first 3 months, they would want to meet with us. They would want to go over our reports. And then after that, they were just like, dude, just send the report. And then when we lost touch with them, what I found is that opened the door up to all these other agencies that would do the audit. And they would do oh, your site isn't doing this and this, and then the client would come back to you, right? So how do you kind of avoid that?
Well, a bunch of ways. I think the problem with the way most agencies do reporting is it's a check the box activity. It's like we did that, and you're right. Like a lot of times agencies force the meeting, but it's so repetitive that the client's like, this is the same shit every day. I see it's moving in the right direction, right? So why do we need to meet? Just send me the reports that tell me you're doing a good job. And I think that's the trap that agencies can fall in if they don't focus in on the true return to the client, the true ROI. A lot of times, it takes months, maybe even a year, to start getting to the point where you're generating leads and where an agency is generating leads and sales for clients. In the meanwhile, you still have to pick metrics in which you agree to measure yourselves by, but always set the stage that you're trying to actually help them get new clients or help them grow their clients or whatever it is, but something very measurable that they can see in their balance sheet. And I think that's the first step, is really
Yeah.
enabling that, and enabling agencies to improve their ROI.
Yeah. And I think one of the keys too is to really benchmark where they started, right?
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
I feel that clients when always want to go like, what did you do for me today? Right?
Yeah,
Because they forget what you did for
right,
them yesterday.
right, or the last 9 months, right?
Oh
Yeah,
my
one of our
gosh.
most popular visualizations is you can create a chart in our software. You pick any metric that you want, and you can chart it over time. And the standard way of looking at the historical performance is just to say, show me last month's data in a shaded region. So you have a solid line that shows you this month's progress and last month's in a shaded line. But you can, in our software, you can actually go back and say, show me the period a year ago. So it's like, look at March versus March of last year. And agencies love that because it just reminds the client that after 12 months of work, this is the kind of result that happened, right?
Oh, big time.
Uh, so it's important, I think, to have that reference, a historical reference, but it's also important, I think, to keep pushing and setting goals, new goals every month that the client agrees to and the client's excited about,
What?
and it has a meaningful impact on the client's business when
Yeah.
when it happens.
What's the best way? Like, what are some of the KPIs that you would tell agencies that they need to measure for their clients? Let's say um, they're trying to generate more leads, right? Obviously, they're probably using your tool because they want to measure the leads or the revenue or
Yeah,
whatever, right? So, what are some of the key KPIs that they need to measure?
yeah. So a lot of our partners, we have about 60 partners now. A lot of them use marketing automation or email marketing, or they have access to CRM data from their clients, and they pull all that into our system, and it allows them to kind of view all the different metrics from different tools. And so the ones that we see most often are absolute numbers along the funnel. So simple things like traffic leads, marketing qualified leads, sales qualified leads, deals. In some cases, different stages in the CRM, and then of course customer count, revenue. And some track the different funnels. Like sometimes they have a different funnel or pipeline for sales to existing clients and sales to new, but they're tracking all that. And what most agencies focus in, from our vantage point or from what we see in our software, is those absolute numbers and then the conversion rates along the way. And so with marketing automation, of course, agencies have the ability to improve the conversion rates as well as the throughput through the funnel. And so that's where most agencies start their conversation. Some agencies literally end their conversation there, and like that's all the client really wants, needs, or cares about, or can grasp. And then we have agencies that also go another level deeper and show the impact of their activities on those outcomes, on those conversion rates, or on the throughput in the funnel. So they might have like, here's the blog post that we published, and here's the results in terms of traffic and leads that we got out of it. Here's our results from email marketing. Here's our landing page performance. Here's our social performance. Here's our Facebook ad performance. Here's our Google AdWords performance. So they try to create a narrative of like, here's our top level, and then here's how we did it.
Oh,
And that ultimately, if they do it right, the part that's not boring is at the end, they should be pitching new things that they should be doing right in the following month and getting buy-in from that. So that monthly reporting meeting shouldn't be about, let me just check the box. It should be about that. Let's show you that, let's reinforce that we did a good job. We actually produced an ROI. Let's talk a little bit about how we did it, and then let's talk about how we're going to do even better and set some goals together for the next month, the next period of time.
yeah, I like that you talked about kind of the upsell, right? You're especially after you like even if you deliver them bad news, right?
Yeah,
On
yeah,
the reporting,
yeah,
but you got to let them know that hey, we're measuring it. This is why,
right.
and we need to kind of pivot a little bit in order to do this based on the
Yes.
reporting, and then
Yep.
this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
And
So 100% agree. You have to be comfortable having the conversations of it didn't work. Um, However, where I see agencies get fired is when that happens more than a few times, and they don't catch it. And that's another thing that we've been helping agencies with is moving to more of a real-time reporting model. So many agencies are stuck in this monthly, sometimes even quarterly model where they show up and say, "Here's what we did. Here's how it worked. This is what we want to do next quarter or next month," and a lot of times it doesn't work. Like the blog posts you push out don't have an impact. They don't rank in search, right? They don't catch much on social. You have a horrible click through rate on your email campaign on that offer that you spent a month producing. So the problem is agencies aren't catching that stuff soon enough, and so there's so much data that an agency has to pay attention to. We did the math, and it was like literally like for one agency with 10 employees, it was literally they had to look at 1,000 screens every week or every month to like just see what was going on. And the problem is that all of that data is spread out across all the systems. Within the systems, it's spread out across all the different tools or screens that you might use. Imagine you got to log into Google Analytics and look at 10 different reports to catch anything. Or Facebook ads. We have talked to a lot of agencies where they set up a Facebook ad a budget, and it blows out their budget in a day, and then they don't realize it, right? Or the opposite. I have had agencies tell me they spent like days setting up Facebook ad campaigns and forgot to turn them on. And so what agencies need to do is pick the right metrics to pay attention to and monitor that in real time and let the software monitor it. Or most agencies know, like if you build a website and you put it on a hosting account, like you don't wait till somebody tells you your website's down before you check, right? You have software that sits there and monitors to make sure the servers are running, the software on the servers are running, and your website's up and running and not causing errors. And so marketers need to steal a playbook from like the developers, and let software monitor for the key metrics and alert them when shit hits the fan or when good things happen, that can be taken advantage of further.
Yeah, it's you never want the client to actually tell you the bad stuff and be
Right.
like, oh,
Yes.
you know,
Why is our website down? Right. Yeah.
yeah, and you need to, you gotta like, and you gotta be honest with yourself too. I mean, if you constantly are sending bad reports,
Yeah.
then you really need to look at the service you're providing, because that's just going to spread, and you may need to think about like, how do I adjust it? But even if it is a bad result, you need to let them know, and you got to let them know what's the solution in order to fix it, because they probably already know. And then you just telling them is just going to be like, yeah, this is a truthful agency versus, I mean, there's a lot of agencies out there that I will not work with just because, they're not truthful, and they just try to like get that client.
Gloss over everything.
Yeah. And it's just not good. Would you like to grow your agency 3 times faster? Would you like to work directly with me, where you can ask me questions and I can give you the answers that you need so you can grow your agency faster? If so, I want to tell you about the Agency University. We're getting ready to open enrollment again, and you have to request an invite if you go to agency.university. Now, Agency University is an innovative mentorship where you get to work directly with me, and we send you the resources and support you need in order to grow your agency. So if you want to know more, go to agency.university.
Yep.
How do agencies, how can they tie more? Because using tools like what you guys do and other ones out there, it ties to what the agency can actually measure. But a lot of times the agencies don't find out what a lead is actually worth, or what an impression is actually worth to the client. What's an easy way, or what have you seen work for agencies in your lifetime?
Yeah. My lifetime. That makes me sound so old. I am getting a little gray.
We are old, right?
So I saw this problem early days at HubSpot and helping agencies sell. I realized that most agencies were very uncomfortable asking money questions. They didn't want to ask like, how much is a lead worth, or how much is a deal worth for you? What's your average deal size? How many do you get in a month or a quarter? What are you trying to achieve? Why? What are you going to do with the money? Like, there's all these money questions that most agencies are uncomfortable asking. And so, to make it easier for agencies, I had built, if you Google it, it's called Inbound Marketing Calculator, I wasn't the first one to create something like it. There's a lot of revenue calculators out there. And the nice thing about inbound or digital marketing is everything's measurable. And so you know your throughputs, you know your conversion rate. So once you figure out how much a client wants to grow by, how much revenue they want to grow by, you can figure out how much the deal size is and how many clients they need to get in order to get there, or grow existing clients to get there. And then they may or may not know how many leads they need to get a new deal, to get a new deal. They might not know their traffic, visitor to lead conversion rate, but those are things you can figure out fairly quickly once you at least start an engagement. And so I think it's important to do that math and work backwards from the revenue goal to ultimately to the lead and traffic goal. And then identify, where do you improve it? Do we focus on our visit to lead conversion rate because it's abysmal, or do we focus on just more traffic because the conversion rates are actually pretty good? But methodically picking metrics you can improve and trying. Right.
Yeah, I mean, you got to tie whatever you do, even if it's not leads, even if it's not impressions. I mean, if you're just a user experience agency or a development agency, you got to figure out, how do we tie revenue so
Sure.
the client actually understands what results you're actually delivering. Because if you don't know, like, and the scary thing, Peter, is I'll talk to so many agencies all day long, and I'll say, what's the impact you deliver for your clients? Well, I don't know. We're just a design agency. Or
Yeah.
heck, I even have that with pay-per-click or SEO companies. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I was like, you don't know the
Really?
results?
Well, okay. Got it.
So it's crazy. So guys listening, you guys need to figure this out. I promise you, if you do this and you benchmark where they're at before they start with you and show you where they're at, on the progression, and then tie that to revenue, you'll make so much more money. That client will like, dude, I can't, you're like my, my heart. I can't leave.
Mhm. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. No, I think it is about showing where they started from and where you're now. I think it's important to have frequency of those conversations, and I don't see agencies having that. They're talking still. They might sell the vision. Some of them are good at selling ROI, but not, and some of them even deliver the ROI, but they're not good at resetting the ROI. I've started to ask agencies, how often do you revisit the goals that you set in your sales process? And very few of them do it very frequently. It's a once a quarter, once to 6 months at renewal time only.
If
Like,
that.
it's really infrequent. And so we have a capability in the product to set a goal for any metric. So it could be, high level revenue, it could be traffic leads, it could be organic search leads, right? It could be social followers, whatever it is that you think is important to track in that time period. I think it's important to track it, and then very quickly be able to see it, whether that's a Facebook ad metric that you're trying to optimize, or a lead metric that you're trying to optimize, or simply Twitter follower count. Whatever it is, you need to be able to see it all in one spot and make sure you're doing it.
Awesome. Well, what have I not asked you that could help out the audience? I always like to end on that.
Are we wrapping up? Are we
Yeah,
wrapping up?
yeah.
Well, I think two things that I'm excited about that I'll share, and with that we're helping agencies with, in addition to the monitoring and retaining stuff, that's helping them with the acquisition and growing. I think growing is like probably the biggest lever. I've never worked on it with agencies before, because at HubSpot I was always focused on the acquisition side, but growing retainers is such a huge opportunity now. The logic I use to justify that, and I have some proof points from a handful of agencies, is that marketing technology is ridiculously complicated and sophisticated now. The capabilities it provides are just booming. And there's so much money going into it. VCs are putting a crazy amount of money into it. Marketers are spending a lot of money on it. So the market's just booming, and The opportunity for agencies is to learn that software and represent it to their clients as ways to improve specific metrics. So at Databox, we're trying to take a central role in that, and we're doing integration with cool up and coming software companies that add value to like core marketing platforms like HubSpot. And so one of them, for as an example, is Seventh Sense. It's email send time personalization. So instead of sending an email campaign out to like 10,000 people at once, or you might even optimize it by time zone or something, but you're basically sending a campaign out. It's going out for the most part at the same time to all those people. So what Seventh Sense does is build up a profile of each individual recipient to identify when they're more likely to open their emails or be active, right, on their computer or on your website or whatever it was. So using that information, they're saying, Jason might receive an email at during a 48-hour window, say 11 a.m. on Wednesday, but Pete might take Wednesdays off. I don't, but might take Wednesdays off, in which case he never checks the email at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, and you should hit him up at Thursday at 8 a.m. when he starts his day. And so it'll actually send that, and they're able to improve click and conversion and opens and all that, as well as delivery rates, because it helps space out email sends, and which kind of helps get through spam filters. So that's a tool we have an integration with. We just beta launched, and we're teaching our agency partners how to leverage that thing and deliver, of course, better open and click rates, and then improves the metrics down the funnel all the way to revenue, hopefully, right? And so I think there's a massive opportunity for agencies to not just show up on a monthly basis and say, hey, here's what we did, here's how it worked, and it's pretty much the same shit they did last month. What they need to start doing is introducing new ways of going about and improving the metrics, and suggesting either that they take those on, or in some cases I'm seeing agencies just do it. Like Seventh Sense, it starts at like $60 a month or something like that. And so you can basically just run it and just say, hey, we have one agency that improved their open rates from 0.5 to 7%, just by using this tool. So the idea is that you shouldn't be sitting idle. You shouldn't just be showing up with your 5 blog posts every month or your offer email or landing page that you built. You need to be innovating and doing more, trying new things. And there's a lot of technology-enabled services out there that enable it.
Yeah, and the agencies need to find time in order to research these things, rather than just spend time trying to finish clients. That's a whole nother conversation, but
it is. That's like, for years we sold to agencies, made them feel guilty that they weren't doing their own marketing, right? Because they didn't have time to do their own marketing, which is crazy. The agencies that do their own marketing do much better. And this is the same thing. It's like you need to find time to work on your business, right? It's the standard work on your business, not in your business. I agree. I think agencies of a certain size should dedicate at least one person to like scouting out new technology each month, and trying to figure out how they integrate it into their service offerings and introduce it to their clients.
If you guys say you don't have the time, you're not charging enough.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
raise your prices. Cool. Well, how can people reach out or check out the product?
Just go to www.databox.com, databox.com. We have an agency program. If you Google Databox Agency Partner Program, you'll find it. And I'm on Twitter at PC4Media or LinkedIn at Peter Caputa. Feel free to reach out. One of my guys from HubSpot recently joined me to help with the agency program, Brian Mosley. So if you know him, feel free to reach out. He's been working with a lot of our partners as well.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks again for coming on the podcast.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for having me, Jason.
Yeah. And if you guys like this episode, make sure you go to, ready for it, it's easy URL, swenk.it. Swank it, and you'll never miss out on a really good interview like this.
How do you spell that?
Swank.it. I mean, it's pretty easy. So do that now, and make sure you guys take action. If you learned one thing today, which hopefully you did, make sure you write it down and schedule a time to go do it. Chat with you guys soon.